gamer, so we can have serious gaming discussions with him for a long time as well.
We're on. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Yes. Come on in. You only missed it by 3 seconds.
It's the way to make every entrance.
Yes. Okay. Digital innovation. That's what I'm going to talk about today. First, a bit of info. This is a very sort of fuzzy plan. If things go, if we get done with this thing really quickly, we'll move to the next part, and then you have a half-an-hour break, and then we talk about a bit of creativity, and then we talk about pitching. So then these are the topics we'll be covering today. Can I move around? Can you guys see me if I move around? Oh, guys. Anyway, it's I like moving around, so it may be tough for you guys, but better hopefully for you guys. Okay. So well, that's the sort of the plan for today. And oh, come on in. And then I can start recording, because that's not as important for those guys, is it? Let's see. Come on. And we're running. Okay, that's Chris. So the first part, the goal of that part is just to find out who am I and who are you, which is probably more important. And what do you want? What is innovation? What is entrepreneurship? And a bit of the course plan and examination. So it's Friday the 13th today, and yes, we all know what that means. We're doomed. This was the first thing that happened to me on my way here. The elevator was stuck, no service. I had to take the dark, unlit staircase down, and then I went down to the subway station, which incidentally is in my basement. But I can't get to it unless I go around the whole block. But anyway, so I go down there, and it says, look at the time schedule. When will the train come? We don't know. Do I have plenty of time? We don't know. So we're already, I'm sort of getting a bit nervous. But not very nervous, because like in all human endeavors, it's all about being prepared. And we're going to talk about creativity a bit later. And creativity, a lot of people think creativity is this weird, fuzzy thing that you know, how are we going to deal with it? Some unique, special persons have it, and most people, they don't, and they just live their drab, dreary, gray lives. Not so much, I think. It's preparing. You can prepare for be creative, but it's one of those things where you prepare to be, you know, for the unexpected, prepare to be surprised. How do you prepare to be surprised? Anyone know? Oh, shouldn't do that. Anyone? How do you prepare to be surprised? No? Come on, Simon, you break the silence. How do you prepare to be surprised?
Prepare to be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you prepare, you're often less surprised than you would be if you weren't prepared.
Mm-hmm.
I find that, yes, the whole listening to intimidating music prepares me for a surprise. Unfortunately, my children don't do that before they give me surprises.
They don't play that scary music. So what Simon is saying is, yeah, he's playing some scary music, preparing, I think, yeah, not so much to be surprised, but to be frightened. Right. We're over here again.
Be able to cope with the surprise.
Yeah, to cope with the surprise. I think it's preparing for a lot of different situations, exposing yourself to a lot of different things, and it's a bit the same with creativity. You're not going to be creative if you don't expose yourself to new things, things that are scary. May not wear a hockey mask, but maybe they should. And yeah, it's a bit about that.
Isn't preparing for the unexpected is very much about being a kind of a diverse view. So you're not saying, okay, I am expecting this to happen, but it's you're saying you're opening mind a little bit and allowing input from alternative sources.
Yes, exactly. What Rune is saying is preparing to take input from a wide range of sources, preparing to be a person who has a lot of breadth in their experiences. Am I right? Yes. Okay, good. So with creativity, with entrepreneurship, with innovation, our way of being prepared is to have some tools for thinking with. How do we think in a way that we can be prepared to surprise ourselves, to surprise each other? So that's a little primer there, just to make it, current for everyone. Now let's see if that works. I'm supposed to wake you up. I would have myself. Anyway, so my name is Stein Zero Janos Ytre. It's it's a bit of a mixture of different cultures in there. Double L is pronounced J, just like in Mallorca, and tortilla chips. So, you know that. My background is I have a bachelor in cultural and social sciences from the University of Bergen. That was philosophy. I thought philosophy was such a fantastic subject when I had it in high school. It's all about, thinking about things in a different way. That's a lot to do with creativity. Unfortunately, when you get to the university, it's more philosophicology. It's a bit more about the science of philosophy. How did these old white men with huge beards think some 1,000 years ago? And you're supposed to regurgitate that. That's what I call the regurgitative method of learning, which I'm not a big fan of. So pretty quickly, I jumped to humanistic informatics, or what's now called digital culture, because people thought humanistic is like human ethics. Is it not Christian informatics? Well, I don't get it. It's basically informatics for the humanities. So literature, media studies, gender studies. How do you, as a humanist, use information and communication technology, which is now digital culture? Same guys, same people basically teaching it, but it's I think it's easier to grasp what it's about, the digital culture. So what I know about from my bachelor is basically how does information technology affect people? How does it make us think differently, act differently, and have a different perspective on the world? So that's yeah, you can ask me about that. And then I have a master in media technology and games from the IT University of Copenhagen. I was a project leader at the first Dansk Akademi for Digital Interaktiv Underholdning production of 2005, which means digital interactive entertainment, basically games. So we made a game. This was the first time they ran that thing in 2005, and we were guinea pigs for a lot of weird things. So, but it turned out okay. And I did my master thesis, analog testing of AAA computer game concepts. Basically, can you test a complex game using just analog methods? Pieces of paper. Oh, this is great. This is great for prototyping, I'm sure. Depends on the game. But how do we use these things? So I'm very fascinated with analog things, getting out some things that have some materialness to them. How can we use that to inform the making of software? And what we found out is you can, and you can get great results, but you probably wouldn't want to do it because it's usually these big companies don't want to take risks. So you want to make something with what you already have, the technology you already have, the people you already have, and you may not need our techniques to do that. Well, so moving on. After my master's, during my master's really, I started as a game designer for a company called Zeitgeist Game Developers in Copenhagen. They were just, it's sort of an incubator. I think you have an incubator here as well, don't you? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's great stuff. if there's a company that does something that's sort of kind of related to what you're interested in the incubator, just go there, okay? Just go there and talk to the people and make yourself known. Maybe they need you, maybe they don't, maybe you need them, maybe not, but making friends, contacts, networking is so important. Just do that, okay? I did that, and that was great. Except, of course, well, after a couple of years making our third-person steampunk shooter, it went bankrupt. So that wasn't so great for the company, but it was a great experience for me. And also, I get paid while doing it, which is awesome. Sometimes not so much, but in the end, it was decent pay. Could live off of that. Then I've been a game designer at Snapdragon Games in Hamburg, making an elephant fighting game for the Wii, and the Core Gang, which is a platformer for the Wii. Again, fantastic experience. I wasn't much of a Nintendo guy. Always loved games, but not much of a Nintendo guy until I started working here. But it was, so I really had to go in and play a lot of games, try to understand this technology. We're going to go and talk about that sometime later in the course. But what we have here, what is that? What is that thing? It's a controller, but it's not any kind of controller. There is a special kind of controller. It's the Wiimote. And the Wiimote is a prime example of disruptive technology. It changes what games are about. People, Sony and Microsoft, they were laughing at Nintendo coming out with their old hardware and what's this funny thing, you wave it around and you play games. What's that about? No. Hardcore gamers, real gamers, they want a hand controller. They want to be able to control their games and press a button and then just wave around like some ninny. Thing is, there's a lot of other people who wanted to wave around like a ninny. And there were more other people than there were hardcore gamers. And hardcore gamers, when they saw other people waving around and being, just having fun, maybe they were missing out on something. And they wanted to try, and they thought it was fun. And it sold a lot. It changed the game when it comes to video games at that point in time. So that's also a big learning experience. Don't be afraid. I didn't know anything about the Wiimote, but I learned a lot about the Wiimote. I didn't know anything about the Nintendo and the Nintendo guys, but I talked to people in Nintendo. I played Nintendo games, played the games other people made for Nintendo, talked to other people who made games for Nintendo. So don't be afraid to get into something that you're unfamiliar with. That's not sort of your preferred thing. It's your bag of chips or whatever, your cup of tea. Food metaphors here. Getting hungry. Okay. Then I had a little girl, and we moved back to Norway. And I was a doctorate research fellow at the Norwegian School of Information Technology in Oslo, working on a thesis for graphical user interfaces in video games, and revised the game design track with Charles Butler. Unfortunately, I'm not a super focused person. I think a lot of creative people are unfocused, but you don't have to be creative, and just because you're not focused doesn't mean you're creative. It's a common misconception. But I dropped out of that. But then I don't think that's so bad, because I dropped out of high school, I dropped out of my college, I dropped out of the master's, and now I dropped out of the doctorate. I'll probably get around to it sometime. Dropping out and then coming back is kind of what I do. I think it's maybe it's a bad habit, but in the meantime you get a lot of impulses. So don't be afraid to sometimes fail and then try again.
Did you warn your wife about this?
Huh? No, I never warn my wife about anything. Things just happen. It's just
that's how you keep her prepared for surprises.
Yes. Like today, both my children are sick, and I told her, well, you have to take care of them tomorrow because I'm going up to Jörgen's lecture. What? But I have meetings. Oh, no, I have a lecture. And so she should be more prepared to be surprised. But that's yeah. I try to train her. It's sort of a wax on, wax off kind of yogi thing, but I'm not sure she appreciates it. I might do that to you guys too sometimes. Okay, don't hate me for it. It's it's a proven formula. You watch Karate Kid and you understand what it's about. So now for the last semester, I've been a lecturer at Hedmark University College, which I understand there's a sort of a love-hate relationship here. Maybe just hate, I'm not sure.
You're part of the reason.
Yeah.
He's part of
Yeah.
it.
Okay, so, but anyway, never mind that. So I've been teaching the visual art and design course because I also draw. I've been working as an illustrator for a couple of years, making lots of illustrations, really. Things for magazines, things for made a tour map for Lund Kommune in Gudbrandsdalen. Lots of different things. Wouldn't say I'm sort of an artist. I'm more of a person who make ideas take shape. So that when somebody has an idea, oh, we need this map of the of our municipality and of Jotunheimen and where people can go. That's a very fuzzy idea. We're going to get back to that. But then I help them make it concrete. So something like this, and they go, oh, no. It is what they asked for, but it's not what they wanted. And then we try again. And we do that a couple of times, and we get something that's what they wanted, or at least is what they want now. So I also had the programming and simulation track, where we did some projects making some nice games and software that looks a bit like games, but isn't it funny enough or fun enough to be games, perhaps. But that's enough about me. I want to know who's here. Okay. Are any of those guys talking? Are they saying something for you?
They're not saying anything.
If you want to say something, that's fine. But Marius will he will read what you say, because I'd like you, somebody in there, if there's somebody out there in cyberspace, unless you're reading this, unless you're
watching it in the future.
Yeah, if you're watching it in the future, this is a message from the past. You should have been here. Yeah, well, as many of you as is interesting, I think. Yeah. What track are you from?
I'm from China.
Yeah, but you have a track. There's a sort of you're following a project, sort of a series of courses, right?
You mean this course?
No, I mean the track.
The one level up.
I'm sorry.
That's fine.
My major is applied computer science.
Computer science, yes. And what do you want? What do you want with your life?
Why are you here?
What do you want? I just want to get the creative idea, or maybe solid ways from this course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not. Okay. Okay. So from this class, especially, what are you expecting? What do you want me to tell you? I may not be able to do it, but what would you like me to tell you? What would you like to know when you...
About this course, I think that it is a new one for me. So I want to... I'm now imaging about what this course we are talking about, and what other I can learn, and what I need to do it. Yeah, because it is just imaging. So if you want me ask a special, I just want to look at.
You just want to take it in. Just surprise me. What you say is surprise me. I can do that. Okay. Anybody else want to say something? How about you?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What track are you from?
Master in Applied Computer Science.
Applied Computer Science. And what do you want?
Yeah, I want my master degree.
It's not a long-term goal.
A long-term.
Do you have a long-term goal? You don't have to. I never had one. But do you have one?
For education and or
Yeah,
in life
like,
or
yeah, life, education, it doesn't matter. These are open questions. So you need to get a feel of, what are you looking for?
I'm looking for happiness and a lot of experiences in life, and I think computers are really interesting. So that's
okay. Well, we can talk about computers. We can talk a bit about. I'm not sure happiness. I heard that
you
happiness.
asked me what I want.
yeah. But I said happiness is I've heard inversely proportional to intelligence. So I'm not sure you're going to be happy. But if you're smart, you're not going to be happy. But can you tell me what you expect or want from this class? Entrepreneurship, innovation. What do you want? What do you like?
Should I be really honest?
Yes.
I think this is just here to have some extra credits that they didn't know what to do. They're just 5 points. What should we do?
5 points. Yeah. It's not much.
We should find a course, and they just made up a bullshit course, and here it is. And
here it is. Here I am.
I think it's going to be interesting.
They got the right man for the job. But that's okay. That's okay. That's fine. I mean, it's very nice that you're honest. No, you don't get to report. I mean, they're going to feel totally pressured if you come back later.
They're just trying to what's some fancy words? Entrepreneurship and innovation. That's really fancy words. We just put that and have a subject, and we don't even have an exam. Just like this is just put here.
Oh, you haven't seen, the demands I put on my students when it comes to writing reports. Yeah. I don't think you're going to feel that it's very easy. But anyway, that's fine. It's good. Honestly, I appreciate that. Yes.
I want to get to participate. What track I am? I am in interaction design master. But I actually made a change from a really technical background because I am an electronic engineer. I come from Colombia, so it's a long way here, coming here.
Yo también, paisano, qué bien.
What else? What do I want? I have like millions of ideas to create stuff. I like creating stuff. I actually keep notes of what ideas would probably become a good successful startups or successful companies in the future, or which of them I can implement to make a product. So that's learning about how can I go from the idea to the product or the company or the service is something I want to learn from this class. What can I do? Well, as an electronic engineer, I actually have experience with hardware and programming, really low-level engineering, like programming. Also, well, I got into web development, so I have some skills as in interfaces and normal.
So you have skills that span, but from a very low-level technical competences to very high-level interaction design. How is the interface when the technology stops and the person starts?
That was my like the moment I say I need to change my career, because I was a research assistant in Texas in a university, and it was a center for digital and analog signal processing. And I saw many people from India, from Mexico, from China, really working into their offices just to improve something that will be obsolete in 3 months. And as engineer, I say, okay, I can do that, but I definitely won't feel satisfied with it. I really want to be in a higher level, have a bigger perspective where I can influence more people. So I wanted to change to design.
It's very interesting. I mean, it's a lot of reflection around your own role, your role as an engineer. I'm going to go and jump back here. Oops, not forward. And point to this thing again, Nintendo. Nintendo uses old technology. I think it's different translation. Japanese is not my strongest subject, but I think it's the innovation through sunset technology is one of their sort of we call it strategies. They use old technology, tested technology in a new and exciting way. And that's what they did with the Wii. That's what they've done with the DS. That's what they've done with a whole range of products and a whole range of a lot of their games. People, you know, a lot of people are skeptical when another Super Mario game comes out, and it's very similar to the old Super Mario games. But people love them, and they're always different enough that you feel you haven't wasted your money. Quite the contrary, this is one of they are consistently rated among the best products that come out in the years when they come out. So I think it's a very interesting point that you touched on, innovating by using something that's not cutting edge. But we'll get back to that. Okay. Anyone else want to say something? You don't want to just point at somebody and that will be all. Yeah, you talk to me.
Yeah, I have a bachelor degree in information technology and information systems.
Yeah.
And I've been a bit all over the place because I've taken a year at Narvik.
Okay. What did you do there?
I took a year study in computer science.
Yeah. Okay.
On the engineering level.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've taken a year at a master's in information security at UV.
Yeah.
And now I'm taking applied computer science.
Okay.
So I've been a bit all over the place.
Yeah. So security and IT, lots of IT.
Yeah.
But it was in the realm of IT. What do you expect from this class? What do you like?
Well, I guess like how to be creative, how to, if you're like put project to life, and if you're going to like start for yourself, or if you're like going to do higher like a PhD, like how to put that, how to come up with productive ideas and how to like implement that in a PhD, for example.
PhD. Oh, well, as you saw, I mean, I didn't fare so well with my PhD, so I'm not sure.
But that's exactly why it's good, because since you dropped out, then you can show like why you dropped out and how that can be avoided.
Yeah. Don't get two children. Start there.
I had a rule that I was not allowed to have children until I submitted my PhD. And so Rachel got pregnant 6 months after I submitted my PhD, 3 months after I got the granted. So yeah, no, I put off having children. It took me 10 years.
Because children, they're a great hobby, but they take a lot of time.
I was reading lots of research papers with my daughter on my chest. So that's well.
He was able to have children and a PhD.
While rock climbing.
She broke into that 10 years later.
Yeah, but we can do this. So being creative, finding ideas, developing ideas. You talk about like taking your idea sort of to making a product. Being happy. It's good. More things. What do people expect from this course? You have a.
I would like to learn more about how to get an idea out there.
Mm-hmm. Out there. So not just here,
No.
but out there.
Of ideas.
And where is out there? How far out are we talking? How far out?
Idea. Depends on my idea.
Yeah.
If I have an idea.
Yeah, we should have a goal. We should have a goal. Like, do you want to get cash in your pocket, or do you want like people to see it? Should it be like a mainstream product? Well, what kind of realm are we in? Or do you just want it to be? I want the idea to be out there, solid. Maybe nobody likes it. Maybe it's no, but at least I can sort of formulate what it is. I mean, you're not sure. You have to work on this. You have to work. Yeah, get a goal. What I can say about that is that I'm pretty good at getting the ideas, getting ideas in my head. They come sort of out, all of themselves. That's not a problem. That also has to do with preparing, and we'll talk about that. Also pretty good at getting the idea across to people. Monetizing the idea, taking the idea and getting money from it. That's not what I'm best at. Or I would probably be somewhere else making lots of money with those ideas. But I'm making ideas that other people make money of, so I guess that's fun. But we'll bring in some other people. We'll bring in some other people who are good at this, and make sure that you get feedback from them on how to take something, an idea that's fleshed out, and make sure that the right people see it and take that and make as much of it as you can, whatever that idea is. Okay? So, I want to ask one more person. One more person. All the way in the back.
Studying about influence as well. What I want, find times or magic the gathering would be good as well, but I don't think that's happening.
Yeah, I mean, they got Mark Rosewater, and they had Richard Garfield still pops in there every now and again, and some other guys there, they stopped their jobs in NASA to make Magic the Gathering cards. It's possible, but it's it's tough. I wouldn't. I think it's not. I don't think it falls under the curriculum here. But we can talk later. We can talk later. Bring it back.
What do I expect? Sort of a glass half empty person, so not much, I guess.
Last time, you were here with her. Like this is.
Well, I did a expectation, I guess, realizing it might be.
Yeah. You already know them, so they're still guests, right? You're gonna make the most out of them. If somebody's in the class, if somebody's in my class, I'm going to bother them. That's my only rule, I think. So the activity, we're presenting a case, we're creating groups, we're making outlines for the pitch. What's the pitch? I'll get back to that. The last part. And then I have the homework. We're going to make a project outline and a refined pitch for Innovation Norway. Because I have this online tuition. As you see, we've put in some online tuition for you guys. Because we're going to meet up. And we're going to have pretty long sessions. These are long days. And but we're not going to have very many meetings like this. So that means there's a lot of thoughts that have come out during, between one session and the next. So I was thinking, probably be nice if you could contact me and we could talk. So I was planning to use Google Hangouts, and we can get together in groups or one-on-one sessions. Of course, there's more time if we have group sessions than one-on-one, but we can ask questions and talk about relevant issues, especially the homework, what's coming in. Okay, so after that, next thing is Innovation Norway is coming. They're talking about how do we get money. We have an idea, we think it's fantastic. If not, why would we be here? And now we just want to make it, make it happen. And to make it happen, usually you need some money, and usually you won't have that money yourself. So we're talking about different ways of getting that money: crowdsourcing, venture capitalists, how do you price your product. We're talking about the value chain. We're talking about the risk to value of different features of your product or your idea, and we're going to talk about the project management triangle. What kind of products can you make? How can you place yourself in the market? What's your angle into the market? And you get feedback from Innovation Norway, and you'll fix your pitch based on that feedback. Again, a bit of online tuition. Then I'm going to talk to you about business plans, about the digital economy. Now we're going from a sort of a micro level up to a macro level. Now we're talking about what are the success criteria on a global scale in bigger markets for success of a product. How do you, and this is going to touch on to macroeconomy and microeconomy. So we're going to toss in a bit of that. Going to talk a bit about blue ocean strategy, other sort of disruptive strategies for creating a market for an idea. Where does it get in, and how should I put it? Other stuff. Anyway, trying to get some guests in here. Maybe Krillbite from Homegame Collective. Maybe some. We haven't really nailed this yet, but we're working on it. You're creating a business plan here, and till next time, you're going to finish that business plan, define your segments and your branding. And all the while doing here, you should be working on some kind of prototype, some kind of way, some kind of proof of concept that shows that this idea is not just a pipe dream, but it's viable, it's doable. Okay. And then Rune is coming in. It's going to talk about Service Innovation Network. You want to say something about that? Sort of very.
Yeah, I'm gonna, as I always like frameworks for organizing all your thoughts and ideas and what's happening. I'm gonna present a framework for service innovation. What it is, how you classify, what are the important parts, and set that in perspective, and some tools or methodology you may use in various parts of an innovation process.
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting. We're going to. Yeah, and after.
And then Runa coming in as a guest. You have Runa.
I have Runa here as lecturer.
Yeah, but Runa.
Runa, yes, yeah. Runa. Sorry, Runa. Sorry, Runa from who organizes the Homegame Collective is coming in there, and she's going to talk about how they work with networking, how they create a fertile sort of environment for innovation, how they approach innovation processes, and yeah, that's she's very very dynamic young woman. I think it would be very interesting to talk to you guys. And then there's a cross-disciplinary
Exercise.
It's an exercise.
Yeah, let's say a few words about that.
Yes.
So
because there was a couple of you who were like, what's cross-disciplinary? What's that? What's that? And
this is a continuation from something we started last year, and it involves all master students, so across study programs, the information security students, the interaction design students, and the platform design students are going to make up cross-disciplinary teams and going to get an innovation challenge, and over 2 weeks work on that and come up with our innovative response. And the learning outcome would be partly for you to work with students from other disciplines that have other perspectives. The interaction students would be taking on the user demands and how to understand the user. The information security students would pitch in what are the security issues here, and you have to jointly work out an idea together. So this would be a kind of a second innovation process, starting from a creative idea all the way up to a proposal that can be pitched.
So what we're hoping is that throughout this course, you will have learned some techniques that you can apply in the cross-disciplinary course. Maybe help out some of the other groups who are not as familiar with it, and create, so you have 2 projects, and in the report that you're handing in for this course, we're looking for a contrast and compare sort of exercise. What was the difference between working with a sort of a monodisciplinary, not quite, but almost monodisciplinary team here versus a very cross-disciplinary team in this exercise? So after that, no more tuition, no more meetings, except for this one online tuition here, where I hope you guys will send me your reports, and I can give you some feedback on that. And the report deadline is 15th of June, and at that point, there's not much more we can do. Just hope that it's fantastic and you've learned so much more, and your brain is like expanded and you're happy. These are the dates that are most important, because that's when we're meeting up here. That's when we have the streaming for you guys. Almost forgot. Is there anyone on?
There are 4 people.
4 people
watching. Yep.
And of course, 24th of April will be the kickoff of the cross-disciplinary.
Yes.
That's also an important one.
Yes, be there. But that's important for him. No, and you guys.
For the
Not for me. but yeah, that's also important. Imagine the circle there as well. Maybe a slightly different hue of red.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah.
Paler.
Yeah. So how are they like? Ask them how they're liking it so far. I see they can watch me. How are you liking it so far, guys?
I mean, they can hear you, so they can hear you.
Yeah.
So I don't need to ask them.
No, it's good. Would be weird if they couldn't hear me. It's just guy walking around the stage, waving his arms. What's he doing now? I don't know. Can you read the lips? Oh no, he's waving one way for the camera. Be stupid. Anyways, any comments or questions to this? I haven't checked these online tuition dates up against all of the tracks. So there might be some collision, but I was planning to just be, in my home office, which also happens to be my bedroom, and be on Google Hangouts, and just we'll discuss, times, allocate slots for one-on-one tuition, and also have some slots for groups, which is a lot of it. You'll just have to manage them and just ask me, how about we come in at 3? And I say, yeah, sure, that kind of thing. But anyone who immediately can see that any of these dates are like, that's totally off. That's impossible because we have something. Was that a?
Yeah.
Yep.
when the online teaching is that's on Thursdays and we have for the courses on Thursdays.
Yeah. Because I saw you also had another course. Yeah, okay.
On Thursdays, we're pretty full. Fridays, we're pretty good. Thursdays, we're both doing courses.
We should probably move them to Fridays then. I'll go and do that. I'll move them to Fridays. Just make a note.
Which
No.
one?
All of them.
Tuition days.
All these. So that was the 19th, no, 20th, 6th, 3rd, and 5th. Yeah. So we'll do
Or-
that.
We don't have courses until, or we don't have them after Easter, I think.
That's probably right, but it's probably a good idea to keep it one day.
Yeah, just Fridays.
Fridays is easy to remember. I prefer easy to remember.
Fridays. Exclamation mark. Fine. Okay, so that's good. Good, thank you. Just the kind of comment I want. Anyway, so moving on to examination. What do we expect from you in this course? Well, there's a group project. You make a pitch for some kind of product, some kind of innovation, and make a prototype, some kind of proof of concept, something that shows that this is, viable. It's within the domain, either health or education. It could be both. If you're like really, if you want to be ambitious, and technology, you should pick two of mobile, web, and game. So here, that's the project. And then,
But Stein, could I just add there? And the reason or I talked to you about this before, is that we would like very much this to be linked to the integration project. So you could take some of the best ideas from here, form teams to get the prototype to an even further stage than what we would be able to do just within the 5 credits here. So we will hope that during the pitching you find ideas and you can team up and have larger teams in the integration project for the applied computer science students to actually develop a prototype to a certain level of maturity.
Yeah.
And that's why it's linked. These are restricted because they fit very well then with that course. So sorry for your other students, but that's, you have to live with that.
yes. So, and then what you'll actually be graded on is an individual project report, 2,500, 3,000 words. That's not fantastically much, but it's quick to read, which is good, and you have to think about what you put in. You don't fill it up with things that aren't very relevant. And I want lots of illustrations and screenshots and figures and things that you have that. So if if a picture says 1,000 words, it'll be like 30,000 words. So no problem. Just make sure that you illustrate these things. You show the pitch document, and use your appendices, right? Put the pitch document in there. Put the any technical specifications that you made in there. But the report itself should be something that's relatively easy to read and make a sort of see what are the key learning points that you as a group had, and for you yourself. I don't think I want to do that. I want to come back in 10 minutes. Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
So here we go.
So a prototype. What kind of prototype? What is on? Because that can be daunting. If you think, oh shit, it's like a fully working piece of software. Well, this is, as you pointed out, 5 study point course. So we're not looking for something that is fantastically advanced. But on the other hand, you are master's students. You already know a lot about computer science. You should know a lot about making software products. And the best way of showing that a software product has some merit, that it can be implemented, is to make something. And there's also a lot of your ideas, when they meet the harsh reality of reality, they will not necessarily break, but they will have to be reshaped. And that's part of the creative process, reshaping your idea into something that is doable, that makes sense, okay? And my experience is that you should make something real, something that actually has some of the functionality you're looking for as soon as possible, to find out, is this thing actually something we can make? And how complex should it be? It only needs to be as complex as it needs to be to test what you need to test, to show what you need to show. And I grabbed this little quote here, which I got from Nicholas Francis, who was the GUI designer for Unity. Anybody here know Unity 3D? A couple of people, not very many. Unity 3D is probably the most popular game engine right now. Not necessarily for huge projects, but anything, any indie project that where you don't have somebody who wants to make their own engine, any smaller student project right now is probably going to be made in Unity. I had a slide where I presented Unity, but I figured a lot of you would know it. Should have put that back in again. But anyway, what he said to me when I, in my master thesis, interviewed him, asking, what tools do you use? We asked this for the people in IO Interactive who make the Hitman games. We asked it of a lot of different game companies. And what he said was, in the concept phase, use the tools that gives the least resistance. More specifically, that gives your idea the least resistance. What that means is it doesn't not to necessarily use the tool that you're most familiar with, that is easy for you to use. It's very easy when you're a computer scientist to go and just code something, because that's what you do. If you're like me, you do a bit of drawing, then you draw something. If you're a writer, you write something. That's not necessarily the best way to go about it. You have to think about what is the core of this idea. How can we make something, how can we communicate idea in the best way possible for the idea? And that's what this prototype is all about. This prototype is about communicating your idea so that whoever sees it says, oh, so that's what it is. It's about making anyone, any naysayer, any investor who's goes like, that can't be done. I haven't seen that work, or we already tried to do that once. And then just say, but how about this? I worked, I didn't put everything I've done on my lists, obviously, but I worked at a company called Mobile Tech, making mobile content, and then we had a mobile framework back before smartphones were really smart. And one of the things that we really liked doing when we were trying to sell or propose innovative web solutions and apps and products to our customers was just to make it. We'll grab their logos and graphics off their website. We'll put together something that didn't necessarily work all the time, didn't necessarily have all the features that we wanted, but it had at least some of them. And we would put them on a handset, or we would create get a link so that the client could get it on their handset, so that when we propose something, they would say, "Oh, we're looking for a." We worked a lot with newspapers, so we're looking for a site that can be used by both our our readers, but also by our reporters. So when they're out in the field, they can just write in what's happening, and it comes up on this site. And maybe we should log in and just start discussing, and then we'll just take a handset and just push it over. How about something like this? That shuts down a lot of unproductive discussion. Everybody says, that's not going to work, but how would that be placed? How about something like this? That is the reason why I want you to make a prototype, and that is the reason why that prototype should only be focused on communicating the idea and making sure that the idea is actually something you can make, something that can exist in real life. So, how are we doing? Need to speed up. What's innovation? What's innovation? Anybody have any ideas? What is innovation? We're here to learn about, digital innovation. But what does that mean? You must have heard it 1,000 times. I've heard it 1,000 times. We called it a buzzword, and to a large extent it is. A lot of people just use it. But we are supposed to use it, but we're also supposed to know, sort of have an idea. It's like an academic course. We should know, what is that? Anybody?
New ideas.
New ideas. New ideas. Yeah, it's a lot of people think about when they hear innovation, and it's not wrong, but it's not enough. There's more to it than just new ideas. Improvement, that could be a part of it. It's often a big part of it, improving something. That's why we have, that's why we have new ideas.
It should be based on,
Sorry?
It should be based on what the user needs and what actually the user wants and what the situation it is.
User, having to focus on the user is very important. Again, we're getting parts of the picture, but we're not 100% there. I'm not saying that the examples and things I'm going to put up here are necessarily going to be it. But this is part of, we have to, amongst ourselves, also discuss and find out what do we think, how do we define it. Language, I have a humanistic background. Language is constructed in the interaction between people. It's not something you find in a book. So if we decide that we find a really good definition for it, and it's better than the ones I put up there, then that's the definition. That's what it is. That's what innovation is.
Basically, I think innovation is solving a problem in a new way or an improved way that it reminds the product exists.
Yeah, very close to a lot of definitions that we put up. Well, let's see what we can find out. Innovation comes from innovare, which means to renew or make something new. I think a very important point here is make. It's not just the idea, it's something more. If you look up on Wikipedia, it says the application of better solution that meets new requirements, inarticulated needs, or existing market needs. It's very important. We touched on some of the things that you also mentioned here. And I think some of the things that are interesting here, new requirements, the world is changing. There will always be new requirements when things are changing. In the Middle Ages, almost nothing had changed. Dark Ages, 700 years, nothing changed. It wasn't a very fertile ground for innovation. But we have some inarticulated needs. People are looking for something, right? There's some kind of product maybe that could fill that need. Is something we're longing for, that we want to be happy, and we don't know, but we want something to make us happy. We don't know what it is. So you can innovate. You can find something, or the market already needs, and it knows what it needs, and that's, why has nobody made that? We're going to make that.
To me, the most important word in that whole definition is application. The fact that it's not just getting up the idea, as you're saying. It's not just making it, but it's actually applying that solution.
Applying ideas.
So it's bringing it from an idea to an application. I think that is, to me, that's the most important part.
It doesn't, thing is, innovation doesn't even have to be with your idea. It doesn't even have to be with a new idea. It can be with somebody else's old idea applied here and now in this particular context to this particular problem, which is why we have the prototype. That's what you do with that prototype. So, another one, realization. This is a longish one. Peter Drucker, he has a tendency to write long sentences. I do too, but then I cut them up afterwards. He doesn't do that. But it says the realization, again, like Runa said, of a good idea, so that it creates profit. It is the means by which the entrepreneur, that word, either creates new wealth-producing resources or endows existing resources with enhanced potential for creating wealth. We mentioned improvement, doing something better. So his definition, it covers that now, right? He puts that in. You can make something better, you can make something new. He doesn't even, actually he doesn't say new, he just says a good idea. Right? Often it's a new idea because you use it in a new way. It's an old idea used in a new way, thus it's a new idea. But the whole concept is it has to be a good idea. We're going to talk about good ideas. Good ideas, I'm not going to ask you now because we're going to bother you with it later. But a good idea, that's also a fuzzy sort of concept that I'm not very fond of. And we're going to take and deconstruct that and rip that apart a bit later. But I like this one. Fresh thinking that creates value. The thing is, I think a lot of these are focused on market and sort of economy, and you think there's like, money is the most important thing. Money isn't the most important thing. If you're a creative person, money is probably not going to be the first thing on your mind when you choose a job. It's some kind of job satisfaction, whatever that comes from. But that's value. There's value. Somebody, my wife worked for many years for the Red Cross. She worked for the Red Cross in the Middle East, in Jamaica, and she worked for the Red Cross, Red Crescent Society's headquarters in Switzerland. They create a lot of value. And some of it can be measured in money, and some of it definitely cannot. There are, so to me, what I like about this, I like things that are short and to the point, and that sort of, and it opens up for different sort of interpretations. But I think this is also really important to have. So, and also put in one this morning. Wow, kind of sort of not very practical, this thing here in the middle. Anyway, from Innovation Norway, since they're coming, a new product, a new service. I like this because it's very concrete. A new product, a new service, a new production process, application, or form of organization. So a new way of doing it. I mean, a lot of you, when you send me a mail, said that you're familiar with agile methodology, right? Can I get a raise of hands? Anyone who's used some kind of agile methodology? And there, yeah. Okay, that's so many of you, and you know, I was going to say 20 years ago we didn't have that. We did. It wasn't very popular, maybe, but depending on how you define it, I mean. But that's an innovation. Somebody took that idea, they looked at how we made software, and we see we're over budget, we're used the time and twice the money, and we still haven't got basic functionality. And they said, we're going to have to do something else. We're going to innovate. We're going to do something different. We're going to organize ourselves differently. We're going to make the same products, same services, same production processes, but we're going to do it differently. That's also innovation. Of course, I think that maybe when we come back here, creating value, that part of what's interesting with agile methodologies, lean methodologies, is they're supposed to be lean. They're supposed to be agile. And a lot of the products that come out to support those methodologies aren't. They have lots of features because features sell. And so they create economic value, but not necessarily value for us when we're making software. Maybe something to think about. So again, it's not just cutting edge technology, it's the application of techniques, ideas, and discovery of new markets. So we're thinking techniques, way of doing things, ideas, new thoughts. We're thinking actual products. We're also thinking ways to approach sort of cultural and societal entities. A new way of thinking about, I'll go back to Nintendo. They found a whole new market there. Everyone else thought, here's people, here's gamers. This is the subset of people who play games. And they had a very rigid idea of who were they. They were men, they were teenage men, they were men who wanted to be teenage men, but were all too old to be teenage men. And that's basically it. And Nintendo said, well, there's a lot of competition in that market. I'm going to talk about that later. But they saw, okay, we can make games. I mean, people play, you know, when they're at the, you know, cabin Easter, maybe they didn't have that, but they could see people playing other games. They could see housewives playing solitaire, and businessmen playing Minesweeper. And I said, well, we could, you know, these are just simpler. They're just easier to interact with. How about we say that, okay, some of these guys, we're not interested in that. Or we can make maybe something like that. I'm sure they thought they didn't get such a big piece of the action, but they did. It's about discovering new markets for what you already have by making small changes to how you present it to people, or how you use it and how you buy it. So we're going to hopefully find some cases over the next couple of lectures. Yes. So, we have, I have found this interesting graphic here, which I thought also can help those of you who are more visually inclined to grasp innovation. I should have one of those things with a point, a laser pointer or something. I'll just use this finger. It's very innovative. Because you talked about people making what the consumer wants, right? Yes, good. Until I learn your name, I'm just going to stare out in the air like that. But you talked about making what the consumer wants, right? Yeah. And that's part of it. That's right here. That's desirability. And then we talked about something that can make money, value, business, and that's viability. And then, of course, being, you know, people who are educated within technology, we think about, can we make this? Is it feasible technology? And in the intersection of here, that's where the core of innovation lies. When you make something that it's viable from a business point of view, it can be done technically, and it's also something the market is hungry for. So we have to move in all these three domains to make something. I mean, because you can see here, if you're just here with process innovation, which is just the intersection of viability and feasibility, sure, we can make something and we can sell something. But is it something that resonates with people? Or is it something that's going to be on the sort of back end? You know?
If it's cheaper, the people are getting cheaper, so they might be happy for that.
Yeah. And that's, so we need to analyze the vector. What kind of angle are we using here? Functional innovation, you find a function, oh, this would be neat to have, and it's something you can do, and it's something people want, but it may not be something you can sell. Maybe it's too expensive. It's totally cool. It's very useful, you know, it's a very useful thing. People want it, and then you've already made it, but it's just the production costs aren't, you know, there. It's not something it's not viable. You can't sell that. A lot of ideas really seemingly good ideas end up in one of these areas here. And what that is, what they are, they're very ripe picking grounds for us to see, okay, somebody made something that was, people wanted it, it was cool, but it was too expensive. Is there a way to make that inexpensively? Which is a lot easier than getting all of these things together. If you can pick something in here that you could sell that, people would want that, and, you know, why haven't anybody made that? Because, you know, time travel would be cool. I bet I could sell that for lots of money. It's just the technology isn't there yet. Is there some way, some technology that we have now that we can use to make that time travel happen? Is there some kind of thing that was over here and now suddenly there's a market for it? This is the kind of thinking that I'm hoping we'll get better at through this course. Identifying ideas that are in these realms and pushing them into the center. Identifying things that are in here and seeing what we need to make them happen. And I think that's about the time that I'll put off for this. Yeah. Perfect. Okay. Let's go have a break.